Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Barr, and I'm so excited to be sharing with you today another incredible episode where I will be sharing behind the scenes of my latest free challenge, the 10 days to 10K challenge, from a complete wash-up perspective now. So I hosted the challenge, I think it finished last week, and obviously started 10 days prior to that. This was something that was really on my heart because I've run these little sprints previously with clients. I really believe in the power of intention. I believe that like calendar months, 12-month years, all of those things are just an illusion, and that when you want to, you can collapse time at any point and create quick results a lot quicker than society tells us that we need to be thinking. So obviously I'm a manifesting generator. I'm all about collapsing time and creating those quick wins, and success that doesn't make sense should take longer, but it doesn't. That's one of my superpowers. I've also worked many times in the past with clients on so I did a 10 weeks to 10K program once before, where it was taking people from complete startups all the way through to their 10K months, which was amazing. So really refining all their offers and all the things. This challenge was a little bit different. It was focused on more established service-based entrepreneurs who could essentially hit the ground running with a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, but equally from the place that everybody is at very different stages of their journey. So not everybody was, necessarily hitting 10K or even aspiring to at that point. But they at least had some, because it's all relative and it's what feels exciting and possible for you. I'm all about the big audacious goals, but only if there is a ladder of probability in place. If you have never even made £20 in your business before, you're obviously not going to be at, the ladder of believability around 10K, you're automatically going to opt out, because your brain will just be like, come on now, how the hell are we going to get there? And you're going to overwhelm. You wouldn't have even taken the inspired action. So it was all about finding the number that felt good for you. And really the intention of the challenge wasn't necessarily to make the money, but it was about showing yourself what is possible and reminding yourself what a badass you are. Because that's the thing. I think I'd heard a lot of conversations and negative talk around money over the last few months. A lot of women, incredible women that I know, were returning to corporate, even if just on a part-time basis, that were saying that they didn't know if their business was sustainable anymore because they weren't making enough money. So I really thought, you know what, I've been through these dips in business many times. I'm in my 8th or 9th year of business now, so I've been through these dips many times, and the thing that I know for sure is that things always turn around, and typically that's when you decide that it's going to turn around. When you have enough of wallowing and saying, oh, this is just my fate and things are just rubbish and cost of living crisis and people aren't buying, well, the reality is there's trillions of dollars in the economy at any one point. It doesn't just disappear because the news tells us that it has. It just gets redistributed. It's still there and it's still available for you. There are millions, billions of people in the world, so I'm pretty sure that you only need a tiny fraction of those people to invest in your services in order to have a sustainable business. And when you remind yourself of that and you pick yourself up and you decide that you are ready to get your head back in the game, and actually nothing is off the table, it's all for me to play for, then that's inevitably when things start turning around in your physical reality and that money starts coming back in. So that's what I wanted to kind of do, is empower the women to really have that perspective and that evidence that at any point you can turn your situation around when you really put your mind to it, and you can create miracles and financial shifts and quantum leaps and all the things when you decide. And I think that the reason that is so important for me personally is because, I see that only a small percentage of female-owned businesses ever make more than 6 figures, and that just isn't sustainable. We're only then, even with 10K months, you're still only like one financial shit show away from an absolute crisis. You're still not really living life on your own terms when you're constantly in that hustle and chase mode for clients. You're still probably compromising your boundaries, and you're still not probably fully embodying and stepping into that leadership role. So there is that the world needs you to do. So this is all about the collective and raising the vibrations. One thing I felt really passionate about was obviously sharing my experience of human design with the women, and having that real-time feedback as to how they can relate those strategies that I'm sharing and translate those to their preferred way of working, i.e. their zones of genius, their natural gifts and talents, and their human design. So that felt really good, being able to do that sort of real-time feedback and adaptation, because that's where I thrive. I love other people's energy and being able to bounce off of people. And certainly, you know, as a manifesting generator, I can kind of do all the things. It was easy for me to forget that some people can't. And the universe then sent me lots of projector clients, one after the other, with completely different energy types, almost at the opposite end of the spectrum of mine. And that really allowed me to tap into my creativity and find innovative ways to continue to market their business and give them the visibility and the income that they deserve, but in a way that is sustainable for their energy type. So that's what that's what I loved about this exercise and this container, was that it gave me that real opportunity to do all of the things that I intuitively love. So let's talk about numbers. So I hosted the challenge in a Boxer group, which, if you're not familiar, it's an app which is essentially like voice notes, just backwards and forwards. I absolutely love it. Obviously, I'm a chatty Cathy and I like to play to my natural strengths. I'm a Gemini, I'm a great communicator. So for me, sometimes the energy is lost through copy, and I know that I'm particularly activating when I have these conversations with women, and that feedback was all the way through the challenge, like, wow, yes, I've got a fire lit in me, cannot wait to go and do the things. So it made sense for me to find a way to be able to convey that information in the most energy efficient way. This meant I didn't have to be perfect and turning up and scheduled. And equally for the women, it was a win-win, because then they didn't need to feel the pressure of being on live trainings. And if something had taken them off, they could catch up in whenever they wanted in real time. And the feedback was fantastic through having that format. So I would definitely recommend that for any offer where you need to have the high energy, where you really want to be getting people moving in a challenge. That's a really powerful app to use. So I had around 70 to 80 signups, which was fantastic because they were all organic. So no paid marketing for this one. I think I boosted a post because my Instagram was just doing something weird and my story views have gone down to like 2. And I knew that this was going to change lives, because once you see, you cannot unsee. And that is the reality. Once you've given yourself actual proof and evidence as to what you are capable of, you can't go back and say, oh, I can't do it, because you've done it. So I really needed as many women in as possible. Now, the reality is probably only 25 to 40 actually signed up then for the Boxer and joined the group. So there was a huge amount of drop off, which is just inevitable with anything that's free. People that pay attention when it's free. People don't, and that's just the reality. From there, I would say we probably had around 10 to 15 women that were super active at the beginning, and by the end of it, it was probably more 5 to 10, which was a little bit of a shame. And I know that there were lots of women that were like, oh, I'm so sorry, we'll catch up. So it could have been like the duration of the container maybe. And that's fine. Like the women that really, and that's another reason why I'm recording the podcast episode today, is to allow the women that couldn't catch up or lost track or whatever, that they've got this access to this now. Like just a little recap. Obviously it's not the same as having community and being able to ask questions and having that real-time feedback as you go. That's where things like my mastermind is so powerful, because I'm literally in there every day with the women, giving feedback, checking the things, supporting each other. And it's why you really need to invest in those communities, because it's a game changer when it comes to business. We all know what we need to do, like, or 99% of what we need to do. We're all intelligent women, but when you have cheerleaders that are checking in and celebrating with you, that is when you truly get out of your own way and get that real momentum and consistency in your business that feels really good and it feels fun. Your brain wants to move away from pain and towards pleasure, so it makes sense that as much as you can make the process fun and exciting, the more that you're going to be consistent to that path. So if you aren't in a mastermind currently, then you are really missing out, because there's just so many ways that they literally pay for themselves and that you can leverage those opportunities. So that was kind of the thing. So every day, and then obviously some have converted since into my by design program, which is fantastic, because that's another opportunity to really go deep and create that unique, bespoke, literally one of a kind strategy for your business, for you, but also life and also money, because we have lots of individual money blocks and where energy's stuck and all of the things that I cannot wait to share with the women. So if you're interested in joining me in that, let me know. I'll put the details for both in the show notes. And kind of the understanding was as well, going through those processes and being in community-based containers is also a really valuable opportunity to get feedback from yourself. You know, if you're triggered by other people's success, that's probably because there's a part of you that doesn't believe that you can have it too. So that's a really valuable feedback loop and way to cultivate self-awareness that means that you will continually be moving through your next levels of success without getting stuck or allowing yourself to be derailed or be bought into the narrative of the cost of living crisis and everything's awful and nobody's buying and nobody's got money. I purposely put myself in the rooms where I know that women are creating success so that I can see what is possible for me too. So I ask the women to be super mindful of that. If something comes up for you, if people are talking about numbers that feel really, you know, out of your league, out of your depth, see that as an opportunity for growth and lean in when you feel uncomfortable. Don't lean out. So that felt really, really good. So every day the format was essentially that I set the women up with like a bit of an action step or a challenge for that day, and then throughout the day, as they reported their wins and they went away and executed and did the things, then I would just give them feedback and keep them moving so that they continually built on that energy and that momentum that they were building in their business. In the first 2 days alone, we had somebody that had made over £6,500, and it was all money that was already in her orbit and in her energetic field. She just hadn't called it in yet with intention. And a lot of the time it is, you know, we're constantly looking for people outside of our business and outside of our current audience, but probably your next 5 clients are already in your current audience, but maybe you're not giving them a compelling enough reason to invest now, this offer, this time with you. And it was just really great to be able to bring that awareness to the women so that they could get those opportunities for sales that are already in their energy at the moment. So day one was all around reframing their mindset around selling is serving and making sure that there was no unconscious or energetic blocks to receiving money throughout the challenge. Because like I say, a lot of the time it's there in our aura, in our energy, in our peripheral, but we aren't fully tapping in because there's parts of us that don't want to be pushing, because we don't want to be selling, we don't want to be bragging, we don't want people to think we're only here to run a business, for God's sake. But that isn't sustainable. You know, it's great to be a good heart-led entrepreneur, but if you aren't making money in your business, guess what? You cannot sustain it. And then who wins? No one. All these women that have had to return to corporate or move away from their heart-led passion project businesses, who won in that scenario? Nobody. But that's because they couldn't figure out the sales element of their business, which is a fundamental part of it's like having a fire. You've got to have the logs, the fuel to go into the fire, or it will just burn out, and that's essentially what will happen to your business otherwise. So the first day was, again, really reframing money mindset and what it means for sales so that they could get behind it, but also identifying like who are those low-hanging fruits right now that if you went away, either past clients, current clients that you could upsell to, that if you went away and made them an offer that they couldn't refuse, would mean that you could literally receive money today. And that felt really good because a lot of the women did do that, like Sarah, who went out and got those low-hanging fruit and made money on the first day, and by the second day she'd got 75-65% of the way to her 10k, which was fantastic because then it really set the tone for the other women. Day 2 was all around micro offers that could be created to create those quick injections of cash, something that wouldn't necessarily take up lots of time and energy, but would allow you to start again receiving right now. Maybe meet your audience at a different point in their journey, maybe repurposing something that you'd already created previously, but bundling it in a different way. One of the things that I love to talk about is all the different ways that you can leverage the offers, and I actually spoke about that on day 4, to create different pathways to be paid and different revenue streams to your business. It's what I'm known for. I had 27 different revenue streams in my business last year alone. This year it will absolutely be more, and I'm really excited about that. Can't wait to do the end of year wash up. This year is going to be quite interesting. So it was all about that quick cash, maybe a masterclass, a low ticket something offer, or even just current like upgrades to your current offers. And the women all went away and did that. This was all about making quick cash, making it a no-brainer, making it something innovative that maybe you've never delivered your services in that way. And that was really interesting to get all of the feedback from the women and the different ideas and the inspiration that they were getting for the ways that they could do this. Day 3 was all around, again, the motivation to stay on track, recognize when you're getting resistance and when that is you being out of alignment with something versus I have a limiting belief that's keeping me stuck and making this feel unintentionally hard. It was about recognizing those differences, and I shared with the women some really powerful journaling prompts that I use to help me move through that resistance, those limiting beliefs that are keeping me stuck. It's because mindset and energy is everything in business. If you are not good, if you are not fully obsessed and on board and behind and what it is that you're offering, if you don't believe that you are the absolute fucking shit and that people need to be working with you, and you don't have conviction in the results that you can get for your clients, guess what? People feel it. That's why they don't invest. That's why when I think about my mentors and the women and the men that I have invested like £25,000 into in one go, never did I need a sales page to do that. It was their energy, their confidence, their conviction, their sense of self that drew me in. And that was like life-changing amounts of money. That could have bought a house, that could have done a lot of other things, but just being in their energy for that time and having that close proximity mentorship really created those shifts in me and activated that part of me that hadn't been before. That will always forever be the gift that keeps on giving. And so all of those investments were absolutely worth it. Day 4 was all around the different revenue streams I mentioned, the different ways that you could leverage what you already had in your business, all of the assets that you previously created, the programs that you've already run. And I think I had like 11 or 12 different ways that you could continue to monetize one program. And I'd love for you today to think creatively about what that could be for you. Are you leaving money on the table right now by not giving people different ways to meet you at different places in their journey, and to cater for different buying habits and types by not fully optimizing the money that's already in your business? That's always been a superpower for me. If I'm going to do something once, I'm going to get the most bang for my buck, and it's what I'm known for as the queen of leverage. So I shared with them like 11 to 12 different ways to monetize one program that I'd already done, and that really sparked some creativity as well, and I think some fire to go away and pick up all of that money that has been left on the table. A lot of the time, people, women particularly, are thinking like, oh, I need to get like my one offer, my 2 offers out, and then I'll circle back and start adding in passive income and all the things. I actually get my clients to do that from the outset, because as you're building the one program, if you've got that awareness about how to be leveraging it from the outset, and where that could then fit into your offer suite and how you can offer it as an upsell, a downsell, a cross-sell to other things, then you can literally make money in your business every single day. Don't leave money on the table. Even me just referencing now the 7-figure sisterhood mastermind, I may potentially get sales from this today, because genuinely, why the hell would you not want to be in it? It is everything. It's access to everything. It's me every week, all of my masterclasses, my events, my retreats, my programs. You get it, or the whole shebang. Why would you not want to do that? It will pay for itself in the first month. I have no doubt, just with what I've got coming up over the next few weeks. It will pay for itself. So why would you not? You know, it makes sense that I mention that as I'm going through, because I'm leveraging something that I've already created with something that I'm currently creating. So day 5 was actually a weekend. And one thing I feel really passionate about is your business needs to ebb and flow in alignment with your life. It can't be in conflict to it. But equally, that is still, you know, every day is a work day to some extent, because you need to be that walking, talking embodiment of your work. So even if you're not on in your business, you still need to be living those values and be in integrity with what it is that you're selling. You best believe every single day of the week, I am journaling or meditating or using visualization, or I am upskilling and committing to mastery. I'm training in other things. I'm leaning into my own community. I'm pouring into my clients and their community. I am grounding in gratitude. I'm doing all of the things, whether anybody is watching or not, whether anybody's telling me to or not, because I believe in what I'm teaching my clients. If I wasn't that walking, talking embodiment of the work, then why would anyone work with me? You know, like this isn't for show. This isn't because I think it sells or because I think it's the latest thing, like the law of attraction. It's because I believe in it. I believe in it. This is how I live my life. You've got to be in integrity with what you're selling. The amount of coaches that I know that are preaching things that they are not investing in themselves. They're telling their clients and their audience to buy their mastermind, even though they don't invest in a mastermind. They're telling them they need to work with a one-to-one client coach, but they're not working with a one-to-one coach. They're telling them to do like journaling practice, this and that, and behind the scenes they are an absolute bag of anxiety and nerves, manic energy, stress, fear. Like the absolute bullshit that goes on in the coaching space literally made me want to leave like 2 years ago, probably even a year ago, I would say, because the lack of integrity of what people are telling others to do and invest in, how they are presenting themselves online, and what is actually going on behind the scenes is mind-blowing. Like genuinely, women supporting women is not a hashtag. It is a lifestyle. It's a choice. It's a set of values, and it is a way of being. You either are a woman that supports other women and doesn't come from a scarcity and fear mindset, or you aren't. But fucking own it. Own your side of the street and stop telling people that you're one thing when actually you're not. And that is something that I've seen time and time again. So what I was advising the women to do on that day 5 was, yes, it's a weekend, but rather than keep parts of yourself private and I'm going to be with my kids because that's what matters to me, but my kids aren't online. You don't have to put your kids online, but if they are an integral part of your business and your why and the connection and the things that you do, then you know you could have some element of that behind, because it just builds trust with your audience. It shows that you are in integrity with what you are selling. It shows that you are the embodiment of the work that you teach. People are mistrusting when they can't see what's going on behind the scenes. I'm always a little bit skeptical, and I'm like, oh well, you know, that doesn't, it feels a bit disingenuous, because you can say certain things, but if you're, you know, it's like coaches that literally disappear for weeks and be like, oh, I've had a really difficult time in the background. It's like, I get that, but equally, like, what was your process? How did you get yourself back to okay? What were you doing? Like, what were the turning points? Like, let that be a teachable moment. Let us share in that, not as you're going through it, obviously, but afterwards. Is there something as a key takeaway? What tools did you lean back on? Like, all of those sorts of things. It's like, we want you to be that walking, talking embodiment of your work, because that sells more than any carefully created social media content posts and what was I going to say? Sales page. I'm like, what was I talking about? Sorry, sales page. That's what I was going to say. So be that walking, talking embodiment. If you are taking time out, being in nature. Like, we want to see that. It makes it interesting. Don't just come on to be selling every day in your stories, but don't come on with that highlight reel. Share the good, the bad, the ugly, and the journey. Document your journey, particularly for a lot of the energy types, where just you being in your best self energy or otherwise is really magnetic. Generators, manifesting generators, like live video content and stories is really powerful. Should be part of your sales and marketing strategy. Obviously, if you want to dive deeper into that, then join me in the By Design program starting on the 29th. I am obsessed with it, and I think this could be potentially my new signature offer, because the amount of work that I'm putting in behind the scenes to give really practical tips and advice feels really good. It feels really exciting. Sunday was all around getting ready for the week and understanding the key money making activities in your business. Now, it's no secret that I only work 2 days a week currently, in terms of childcare and recording and all the things. You best believe every minute of that time is mapped out and utilized and leveraged. I'm not pottering about at all. I've got things to do, and I want to be intentional with the time that I have with my daughter when I'm not working. And I don't believe that you have to sacrifice either or. I think you just need to get your head in the game and get focused, and that's what I encourage the women to do. Yes, it's a Sunday. Yes, you need time off for your business, but actually that is going to save you a lot of time and stress in the week. And let's be honest about the fact that this is a unique opportunity in time. Yes, it doesn't have to be hard work having your own business, but let's be prepared to do some fucking work. You know, like the audacity and the entitlement of some entrepreneurs just literally blows my mind, where they're like, oh no, I don't work weekends, don't work evenings, don't want to do this, don't want to do that, only want to be on my pants in a beach. And it's like, wow, if you think that you can build a sustainable, credible business without actually at some point doing the work and setting that solid foundation and building trust, then genuinely, I just don't know how much longer you'll be in this industry, because you cannot negate the hard work. People don't like to glamorize it. People don't like to talk about it. But if you think about, I was talking about this with my mentor this week, actually, around the work that it takes. And yes, I only have 2 days of formal childcare, but I'm still doing lots of stuff in the morning, in the evening, around that, to make sure that, you know, it's go time. Like, I have a big mission and a purpose in this world. I'm not prepared to sit on my hands and do my time and be a stay-at-home mum, as much as I respect that so much for the women that do. And I love that journey for them. That is not my journey. That is not my journey. And I know that. I was really high achieving in corporate. That doesn't go away when you become an entrepreneur. If anything, you really see the opportunity for what it is, and you want it even more so. So I want to be a credible brand. I want to change women's fucking lives. And that requires me to get visible, to continue to up level, to go fast and make mistakes. That requires me to get out of my own way and do the damn thing. So that's, you know, and that's the reality. And sometimes that is a huge fucking personal sacrifices for me. You know, I'm a single parent with 5 kids. It's not fucking easy. It requires a lot of risk, a lot of sacrifices to some extent, not in the same way that it did when I was working 7 days a week and, you know, getting to the shop at 8 in the morning, cashing up at 8 at night, not in the way that I was traveling 60 hours a week when I was working corporate. But equally, I would be leaving money on the table and doing myself a disservice if I wasn't prepared to get a little bit uncomfortable and do the things that I don't necessarily want to do all the time at that time, in my business. Because, you know, my kids are getting older. I'm getting older. Like, you only get one life. I have a weird obsession with time, and I would rather know that I end every day fully satisfied that I've done everything I can. I've played all out for what is important to me, then go to bed and be like, like, that to me is just not my vibe. So let me know if you're the same. Right, so that was all around, like, yes, it's an hour or two on a Sunday, but it really sets you up for success and to hit the ground running on a Monday morning, which I always do. So Monday was all around how you're selling your offers and how you can create more fun, because equally hard work is the thing. Oh, sorry, what I was also just saying with my mentor as well is that we were joking about, can you imagine if people like Beyonce or Serena Williams or Oprah or Barack Obama or all like these incredible like people that we respect as leaders, if you read their book and it was like, yeah, it was so easy, I was naturally gifted at something and it was fine. Yeah, just took me 2 hours a week, didn't really need to work, didn't really overcome any adversity, didn't have to sacrifice anything, didn't really get out of my comfort zone at all, actually. I just like won the lottery. Could you imagine reading that book? Would you really get behind that hero's journey? Would you really be clapping for that person and feeling as invested in their journey if they were like, yeah, it was just easy? Like, you can't replicate my success, but it was just easy. Like, would that inspire you in any way? No. So don't negate the work that it takes behind the scenes. And if that means sacrificing an hour or two on a Sunday, you're going to thank yourself later. And that's what I always do. I spend my Sunday, the kids are all pottering about in their PJs with my coffee, and I get myself set up for the week. I know some people don't want to do that, but generally I think you're missing out if you don't. So day 7 for me was all around having fun. And really, you know, one clear example for me was obviously writing my book this year. It's something that I've said before that I would do, and I didn't last year because other things got in the way. And I believe that timing is everything, but equally you've also got to hold yourself accountable a little bit. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do it this year, how do I make it more fun? Because I know what I'm like. I'm going to get in my own head. And I'm going to be sharing a lot, you know, I'm going to be gathering a lot of information along the way. How do I bring people in on that journey, keep myself accountable, and also make it more fun? That's how I created the book writing club. So I've just been live in there a moment ago to share some of like the press opportunities that I am getting as part of my business. I've been able to apply that with what I'll be doing with my book so that I can leverage that to, you know, increase my brand and all of the things, and really leverage what the hard work that I'm doing behind the scenes with writing a book. You know, I'm not just going to allow that to go on to Amazon and that be that. Like, this has got to be the gift that keeps on giving, like anything else that I do in my business. So I've invested in coaches and mentors that can help me with that, and fully utilizing and leveraging and optimizing that. That's the kind of thing that I then share in the book writing club, and that's what feels really good for me to do. But it could be just different customer journeys that make it really fun for somebody to come into your world, to lean further into your world, and then stay in your world. What is the evolution look? What does the evolution of that look like? How can you make it more fun? Because ultimately, like I said, your brain moves away from pain and towards pleasure. And if you cannot enjoy the process of running your business and onboarding your clients and giving them a really incredible service, like, what the hell is the point? There are easier ways to make money. Like, trust me, I've done a lot of the things. There's easier ways to make money. Day 8 was all around getting super visible, and I shared 5 different ways that you could really increase your visibility in a meaningful way. So this is not about creating viral content and just having an influx of irrelevant random followers. It was about doing it in a really thoughtful way that would increase your visibility and your conversions, and really build your personal brand as you went, and your credibility and your authority. And that should be part of your daily, weekly, monthly activities. You can never take your eyes off the prize. It is a numbers game. You can see even from the conversions of my challenge, you know, 70 to 80 people signed up, but by the end of it, I only had 5 to 10 people actually active, and then only like 4 people signed up for my program. So even though I'd given 10 continuous days of value, like, it is a numbers game. You can't get away from that. And the more eyes that you get on your offers, the more people that see you, and it wasn't for that purpose anyway. This just helps with my good karma and the collective. But equally, you know, divine law of compensation, it will come back in one way or another. So I never get myself attached to the conversions and the outcome, because I know that that will just be a gift that keeps on giving, and I'm grateful to be able to support those women in that container anyway. But equally, you can see the level of conversions from that, and that was 10 days of continuous value, showing up, planning prior, during, and after. Like, there was a lot of work that went in, and you know, and that's what you need to be aware of. Again, a lot of people, 100k months, how many people did you need to get signed up for that? How many people defaulted on payment plans? How many people said yes and then said no? Like, how much energy did that take? I'm all about the full transparency in the entrepreneurial journey, so people don't feel like it's them, that they're doing something wrong. They understand that this is just part of the journey. Day 9 was all around meaningful conversation. So every single day, and I shared some tips around how to initiate. Not all human design energy profiles are meant to initiate. Some are meant to respond, but you can also be a little bit savvy with how you and intentional with how you get people to jump in your DMs and start those conversations and all the things. But essentially, that is what builds businesses. It's relationships and conversations. You can sell without a sales page or even a sales call. If somebody really feels seen, feels heard, and sees the value and the results that you can create for them in your programs, they don't need all the other things that you think that they do. They just want to have that meaningful point of connection. So every day we should be aiming between 3 to 5 conversations a day. But equally, just, it's good practice. I bet you have thousands of people on your social media that you've never even had a conversation with. What is the point of having thousands of people in your audience, people that have actually taken the conscious choice to follow your page or subscribe or sign up to your mailing list? Let them be seen, let them be heard. Start that contact now and make sure that that's part of one of your daily DMOs, daily method of operation. And then day 10 was all around recapping, celebrating the wins, whatever they look like for the women. Because every time you do that and you set the mini goals and you go away and you do the damn thing and you're consistent and you celebrate yourself for that, whether you got the desired outcome or not, like, you've still shown up for yourself, you've still committed to something, you still created new neural network pathways in your brain, because I was very good at getting the women to look at their business with fresh eyes, reconsider their customer journey, their offer suites, their price points, like all of the things. That's still work. We need to celebrate that. And the more that you can do that and really acknowledge the growth and the micro wins and the mini wins along your journey, the more that it just makes those bigger audacious goals safer, the more that you increase the safety around you achieving those goals, because your brain is constantly reassured that you are in control, that it's okay for you to have what you want and for you to achieve that next level success. So that's like a bit of a roundup of the 10 days challenge. It was absolutely incredible. The women, the feedback, the energy, the positive karma, like all of the great things around it, the shifts, the takeaways, the aha moments were really beautiful. And it will definitely be something that I look at replicating next year. If not, maybe sooner. Maybe we'll do it after the summer and do another sprint. I'm not quite sure, but I'll lean into what the women need and the collective at that time. But I'm so grateful for that opportunity, so grateful for all of the women that showed up. I really hope that they have really blown their own damn minds with what is possible for them, and it's reframed a lot of things for them too. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I like to keep them kind of short and succinct, but there was a lot to talk around in this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know what your key takeaway moments are. If there's any comments, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the podcast, because that obviously helps me to reach more women, and that's ultimately what it's about for me. I will just double check if there are any questions. I don't think there are, but I think Jackie was just saying yes, really preferred the Voxer rather than a Facebook group. Absolutely, exactly the same. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.